Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, AOC. What's she up to? Well, she has decided that she's just not going to pay her DCCC dues. She's not doing it.
It's awesome.
And instead, she's starting a PAC to help other progressive-minded incumbents, or not incumbents, progressive-minded future candidates get elected into the Democratic Party. So this is what we've been talking about for years. This is that kind of can you try to take over from within? And I just kind of want to open this up to discussion because this is, I mean, those are the nuts and bolts of it. It's very simple. How the Democratic Party will ultimately retaliate against AOC, I'm bracing for that. But ultimately, she's just kicking the establishment in the teeth. I'm not going to pay my dues. Screw your fundraising nonsense. We're going to do this a different way. And she's going to try to help bolster those that think like her a little more, right? A little bit more progressive ideology, democratic socialists, people who aren't taking big money from corporations, and like, let's try to build these coalitions. This is the building the revolution that we've been talking about. This is the taking over the party from within. So, in the long view, the way I see this, sort of the draft Bernie crowd sort of has proven to be wrong, right? The correct strategy is proving to be that, what we were saying earlier, it's a lot easier to take over a McDonald's than it is to build a new fast food hamburger joint. I do want to mention we have a super chat right there. Duck Moore, 1988, U.S. didn't apologize about Flight 655. Hey, that is an excellent point also in the context of the last story. But fundraising, political campaigns, Is AOC in hot water over this? Is this going to hurt AOC? Are the Democrats going to be able to successfully say you're not being a team player and this is what tears our party apart? Or is she going to be right? Is this the way we win by winning?
I think this is how we win by winning, Paul. I think this is exactly what we've been talking about. This is, again, so let's talk about the DNC. I'm sure people like Marie Newman are very happy about this news. We've interviewed Marie Newman. She's progressive. She's in Illinois. If you donate money to the DCCC, you are donating money to Dan Lipinski, who's a Republican with a D in front of his name. The DCCC has also been blackballing people that have been working with insurgent candidates. So these are people that are not interested in the concept of democracy. AOC is going and saying, well, I have a war chest. I could give $250,000 to the DCCC, or I could give it to people who I actually agree with. This is good because it's showing that progressives can raise their own money and spend it their own way outside of the established loop, outside of the established circuit. So there's all this excitement and energy with progressives coming in and they're raising a lot of money. Bernie Sanders, of course, has been killing it with fundraising. And the Democratic Party is doing all they can to maintain their system. And if AOC, everyone else new that's coming in literally just says, we're going to make our own system. What are you going to do about it? So will there be backlash, Paul? Yes, you bet you. There's no question. When you touch the Democratic Party's money, you shall pay. Of course, because that's the most important thing. That's what Nancy Pelosi is. Now, my question is that if AOC is just a Green New Dream or whatever, just a freshman that doesn't really matter, as Nancy Pelosi has said repeatedly, I'm sure she won't matter. Nancy Pelosi, after all, is the Michael Jordan of fundraising. She said so herself. So, if Nancy Pelosi feels comfortable in her own skin, comfortable in her own abilities, I'm sure there's not going to be a backlash, because why would you backlash something that's not a threat? Now, however, if there is a backlash and there is attacks and there are attacks pushed against AOC and people like her, well, that money probably mattered to them. Kira.
Yeah, AOC never, ever ceases to amaze me. I think she's a personal hero of mine. The level of courage she exudes, because there will be backlash. Absolutely. And that's why I think it takes courage to do this kind of stuff. If there was no actual repercussions for going against the establishment Democratic Party, then there would be nothing scary about doing this, and probably a lot of other candidates would go along with these kinds of moves, because really what I see in this move is almost like a feeling of a third party setup, you know, right? Because if the DCCC is there to help Democratic incumbents and the establishment and, you know, the way it is and always has been, then we do see this sector of, you know, the Democratic Party peeling off and saying, well, you know what, that doesn't align with us. So why should we kowtow to a party that does not align with our values? I was watching an interview with AOC, and I forget where that interview was, and I do apologize for that. But the interviewer asked AOC if she was scared when she went outside of Pelosi's office to protest for the Green Dream or whatever, the Green New Deal. And she said she was scared shitless. I mean, she didn't say those words exactly, but she said, oh yeah, I was really scared. And reports are that some of the other squad members were supposed to be there with her, and they actually peeled off and didn't do it. So that's how scary it is. And I think that sometimes I like to be a little bit more compassionate with a lot of our candidates and also legislators because of that, because I don't think I can even imagine the kind of pressure that exists in the Washington bubble as it is, because I've never been there, I've never lived it, and because I've never lived it, I'm not gonna pretend like I understand it in a real way. And I do know that this will cause backlash. The Democratic Party will paint her as some rogue person who doesn't have any following, even though she'll be able to raise more money than any other candidate in Congress. They'll still point to her and say, that's not mainstream, she's gone rogue, she's dangerous. And that will be the backlash for it.
Certainly a lot of bravery, right? This is what punching up looks like. You know, this particular quote from the article really stood out. It said, when community leaders, activists, and working class candidates try to run for office, organizations like the DCCC discourage them. These potential progressive leaders are asked, quote, can you raise $300,000 from your friends and family? If not, don't bother trying. And that's what this is about. This is about coalition building. This is about raising the money that's necessary to run your campaign in a more egalitarian way. This is bypassing the gatekeepers of our democracy. Anyway,
I'll say one quick thing before we move on. Another part of this is that the money that the DCCC raised, they've actively stifled or not given money to AOC. So this entire thing is, it's like maybe it's a little different than that point that you're giving when she was going outside of Pelosi's office. So it almost feels like it was a different time in her career. But at this point, this is about the system the Democrats have built and how it is built to either try and kick people out, but it completely backfires if they can sustain it. And in this case, AOC has raised more money than Nancy Pelosi. And at the same time, since the DCCC is already ignoring her entirely, funding people that are opponents of the people that AOC backs, she's in a position where, like, literally, what does she have to lose? What are they going to do? Not give her money she's already not getting? No. AOC is now in a position to become what Pelosi should have been all this time, someone that helps get in good Democrats and replaces bad Democrats. So, like, literally, what are they going to do? What do they have? Like, they've already taken everything away from her, so what does she have to lose?
Right. And she's not beholden to big money donors, so she actually doesn't have that to lose either.
Yeah.